What's up, you guys? This is Rob from My Gay Guy Plays, and today on the snapshot, which I think is what I'm gonna go with, we are gonna take a look at the full run of machetes currently available in game. Now, the reason behind this is because we recently got Cyclone Kraken, or Kraken Cyclone, I can't remember which way that goes. Regardless, it is a far superior melee combo stance, well, in my opinion it is, than the previous stance that we'd had for ages, which was Sundering Weave. So now that we've got something a little bit fun for us to play with, I figured that we should go ahead and look at the toys that go along with it. Because you damn well know that I forgot pretty much about all of the machetes that were available. I was like, what? What are machetes? We have those? They exist in game? So this is going to be a nice little refresher for those of you who are like me, who just stopped giving a crap. Okay, so just as a bit of a heads up, all of the machetes that I feel are a little bit lower tier, I'm going to be talking about more in passing than anything else. The other ones that I feel like are at the tippy top, we'll go ahead and actually playtest against our, best friend, Billy the Bombard. But right now, I do want to kind of bring this to your attention because we do have the machete blueprint currently available in the market. Now, the big thing about this is not normally available. It's actually limited time. As you can see at the recording of this video, you've got 2 days left to pick it up. So if you are looking to get your hands on some mastery fodder, this is definitely where you should go. On that note, let's go ahead and take a look at the machete itself. Now, this thing's got pretty low base damage. Its crit is really not all that exciting, sitting at only 5%, but it does have a 10% status chance, which is kind of workable. Now, I'm putting this at the bottom of the barrel because really these ones that I regard to be in the lower tier, and that's what I'm going to refer to them as. I don't mean to offend anybody, but I feel like these ones will perform halfway decently throughout the star chart, but will really start struggling towards the higher end, probably not in like, Mott survivals. You probably don't want to bring this into those, and definitely not into sorties, but these are decent to bring you through the star chart. Not the greatest, but decent. The next one up from that is the Prova, and I believe this one is a clan researched weapon. So the Prova itself is very, very similar. It has the 5% critical chance, has the 10% status chance, but it's shifted all of its base damage into electricity, which is cool because you can combo that with things like poison to go ahead and make yourself a little bit of corrosive to strip off any enemy armor. But I'm going to be real with you, at the levels that you're going to be using the Prova at, it's not really that necessary to go in to try to strip off armor, because legit, if you're not killing things in 1 or 2 shots, then you're kind of doing something wrong. The next one up from that is going to be the Kama. Now, as you guys can see here, the Kama actually has less supplemental stats, so it's still got that 5% critical chance, but it's got 2% status chance, when the Machete and the Prova actually had 10%. Now, the reason why I'm putting this one up on a pedestal is because it's actually got a really solid base damage. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is better than the other two is because we're talking about star chart play here, and the base damage works really well with the 90% elementals. So it's almost kind of like it's got enough power to plow through the star chart, as opposed to the other two, which really don't have as much upfront damage. So the Kama's fine. It's not fantastic, it just kind of does what it does, but it's definitely not the best. Now, let's go ahead and move on into the machetes that have got some pump into them. We'll do some gameplay for you. Now, before we move on, because I'm a terrible YouTuber and I completely forget to put things in, the Kama is actually available in the market for 40,000 credits, so if you're interested in that, you can pick that up there. Okay, so just above the lower tier mark, and I'm saying just above, it just stuck its head over the line just by a little bit, is the Machete Wraith. This one is available from Barrow Katir, so make sure to pick that up whenever his stock rotates it in, at least just for the mastery, if only that. Now, for those of you wondering, I am using the Nightwatch skin on it, so if you're like, that doesn't look like the Machete Wraith, well, I use this and I think it looks pretty and I think it looks cute. Now, this actually shares a lot of the same stats as the original Machete. It's still got that 10% status at its base and the 5% crit. I even kind of cheated a little bit because, as you can see from most of the higher tier builds, I don't like necessarily using that language, but that's kind of the way that I'm gonna have to put it out there, is I actually substituted Weeping Wounds in for Life Strike because I'm really trying to give it as much. I'm trying to make you seem right now because you need some help, Machete Wraith. So let's go ahead, get ourselves a little bit of buffage and pull out a little corrupted bombard, Mr. Billy the Bombard right here at level 145, just to show you guys exactly how this one performs, because it's not great. Let's be real. It's not going to be fantastic, but it's definitely not as terrible as it was before. I mean, we've got condition overload, we've got the weeping wounds on it, and it's still kind of doing some work. It's taking a little bit of time to take down the bombard, but still, it does the job-ish. Ish is definitely kind of, you saw what happened there. It was definitely like, it did the job-ish. Let's go ahead and take a look at that one more time. Come on, come on, come on out, little Billy. I'm gonna take care of you. It's got a decent amount of slash in it, so there is the argument that you could run viral on it, but legitimately, I don't think the status chance is strong enough. I mean, it did a better job there, so it's not the bottom of the barrel. Let's just leave it that. It's slightly better than the bottom of the barrel. Alright, so moving up from that one is actually the Prova Vandal. This one's got a 20% status chance at its base. It's still got that, 5% critical chance, which, a weapon doesn't necessarily need a ton of critical chance to make it amazing, but it definitely helps. As opposed to its original, it's actually got 10 more status chance, and it's got a boost to its base damage. Let me just make sure that I didn't miss anything else. Nope, that's about right. That's about right. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the build real quick. So this is what I'm using, and I think that a lot of you guys are gonna notice one thing. So this is where Life Strike would be, just to let you know. One of the things that I did test along with it is it does have a very specific, I think it's like static discharge, LMNOPQRS, static discharge, which allows you to do 80% of your weapon's damage when you do a charge attack, and it releases this electricity thing. I feel like that's just unnecessary, to be completely honest with you, because its slam attacks also release electricity, and at the levels that are a little bit higher, that damage that you kind of like shoot out is really not that much anyway, so it's almost pointless to take up a mod slot for it when you could have some utility like Life Strike, or even put in like, a Weeping Wounds or another elemental mod. But the reason that this is kind of interesting in the mix is because it works well with condition overload. So what you'll actually notice is that when I use it, I'm just gonna shut up and use it. Let's just get all up in there with our little friend. And what you can actually do is, in order to add another 60% boost in damage, you can actually perform a status attack, a jump attack, so that you can get that electricity onto him, and then you get that pump in damage. And the thing about this is, after a while, that was pretty gosh darn quick. Like, you can see that that's actually a lot better performing. And I honestly picked up the Prova Vandal thinking, this is gonna be shit. This is just like, it's not gonna be good. Like, I honestly thought that I was only gonna be talking about the top two. I was like, those are the only ones worth using. But this one, seeing at how it performs, especially with the new stance and its ability to kind of like strip armor real quick, it does a pretty damn good job. And I mean, that is a level 145 bombard, so who knew? Who knew our dildo bat could work that well? Now, as we climb higher, things get a little bit prettier when we take a look at the Gazal Machete. This thing is luxurious. It is beautiful, and it pairs well with the Jinn, but we'll talk about that in a second. Now, the Gazal Machete is actually pretty fantastic. Its status climbs up to 25%, which means that you're going to get consistent status application, and it's got a lot of slash damage at its base, so you get some like armor bypass and magic over there, which is very, very nice. Its attack speed is actually pretty decent as well. Its crit is 10%, so that's kind of like, it's middling, but it does a thing every now and then. Now, we're going to take a look at the build right here, if I can actually click the right buttons for once, Rob. So as you can see, I'm actually running with Viral and Fire on this. You don't need to run with Viral and Fire. You can actually slot in Weeping Wounds if you want some more consistency, or you can swap that out for Buzzkill to actually really push the slash portion of this home, but that's all up to you and whatever you want to do with your life. This is just what I'm doing right now. Now, for those of you who don't know, I've also got the Jin equipped. Let me unequip the little shooting weapon just to make sure, because I don't really know what his build is, but it doesn't really matter, because what happens is whenever Fatal Attraction goes off, you're not going to see it in this video here, unfortunately, because it just doesn't. Whenever it casts Fatal Attraction, you're actually going to get a temporary buff to the Gazal machete that allows it to do corrosive damage, which works very, very well with Condition Overload when you're using Viral. So you've got the Viral, you've got the corrosive, you've got the fire, you've got all of the IPS that is going on, so this is really going to get a nice boost from that Condition Overload. But you know what, let me shut up and let it do its own talking, right? This is one of those things where I'm just happy this exists because it's pretty at the same time. I'm like, it's pretty, and you do a thing, and now we got a stance that works. But the slash is actually one of those things, like, you can see how fast we're, well, I guess, oh no, the viral, went off on it, so I guess it's not the best run for it, but let's go ahead and do that one more time. But you saw, if his little booty had knocked me over, I would have taken him out real quick. Did we actually make one? Yes, we did make one. and that's what happens. I should have probably been using hallowed ground, right? But as you can see right here, that he just pretty much got carved in half. Like, legitimately, the Gazal machete is quite good, especially with all of, because I think when upon its release we didn't have certain things. We didn't have like Condition Overload, and we didn't have drifting contact, so I think the build that I was using back then didn't even have those available. Let's go ahead and toss this down as well, just so that I don't get so knocked around. But yeah, the build back then didn't even have access to that, so now that he died a lot faster than I thought he was going to. But that's that, so at least you are aware of how well the Gazal machete works, and it's also pretty. And if you like vacuum, you know, this is literally, this is the only reason I'm pulling out a Sentinel, is because I'm like, I need you two to go along with each other, okay? Alright, now before we move on to the Nami solo, I did want to mention that the Gazal machete is available in the Tenno lab of your clan dojo, so if you're looking for the blueprints for something nice and luxurious, you can find it there. Alright, now sitting at the top, kind of, is the Nami solo. I need to put that out into the universe because very much like the Machete Wraith, this has a little bit of help. Like, the Gazal machete is real good, and it could technically be in the #1 slot. It could technically be in the #1 slot after I show you the build, but I kind of want to explain myself to you real fast. Now, as you can see right here, we've got a critical chance of 15%, which is about 5% more than the Gazal machete, and it's got a base of 25 status chance, which is, I believe, the same as the Gazal machete. Now, as you can see here with the build, it's this really interesting hybrid build of like Blood Rush, Drifting Contact. It's got Organ Shatter in it, but it's also got Condition Overload. So it's a real hybrid of status meets crit. The one thing that you will notice that is not in there is Life Strike. So as you know, on the Gazal Machete and on the Prova Vandal, I did use Life Strike in those, so those did kind of give those ones a little bit of a disadvantage. Usually I like using Life Strike on most of my melee weapons. However, in this case, like, the Nami solo is fantastic. I won't say fantastic. The Nami solo would have dropped down to maybe about rank 2 or 3 in the top 3. Like, it wouldn't have been the top spot. But by adding one mod like either Blood Rush or Organ Shatter or Condition Overload, getting rid of any aspect of this build would make it far less, would make its performance just like drop big time. So I was like using there, seeing, I was like, well, where does it belong on the list? I was like, technically the other ones are handicapped because they did use Life Strike. So what I'm going to do is I'm just kind of putting this out into the universe for you to decide on, like, what you think, you know, was it truly a handicap? But this thing does some freaking amazing damage, utilizing both stats when you haven't gotten knocked on your ass by this jackalope. But because of the fact that you do get, like, 16 hits, like, that thing is like, the other ones were doing about maybe 18 to 20 hits. Like, I was just like sitting there and I was like, but removing any one of those mods made its performance drop into like the 20s and 30s when it came to hits. That was like 16 hits. This averages under 20 this averages under 20 strikes in order to kill one of these bombards. So a part of me was like, well, where do I put it? I mean, I'm using Oberon, so everything's kind of like fine and dandy. But the one thing that, you know, when it comes to like killing things, it's fine because I can stay alive. I don't know if people really care about that, but I use Life Strike on everything, so, you know, I don't know. It's up for you guys to decide. You guys have seen the performance here, but those are like what I believe to be the best of the best when it comes to the machetes. However you decide to play is completely up to you. Whatever order you feel like you want to put them in is all your own choice, but this is kind of like what I have ended up deciding is like the case. That was like right at the cusp. That was like 20 perfectly there. But yeah, so that about does it for kind of like my reviews on the machetes. Now you know kind of like how they function, where you can pick them up. By the way, the Nami Solo, you can pick up in the market, the blueprints in the market for 20,000 credits. And I actually don't think that this one has a mastery lockout like some of the other ones do. Regardless, that about does it for this episode. Now you know what machetes exist. Now you know what you can play with. Now you know what you can kind of mess around with and enjoy. So as always, love somebody, hurt nobody, and touch your body. I hope you guys enjoyed that one, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.